We out here breaking records, y'all. Justin Trudeau looking to add 10 more Senate seats before he leaves office. People are not fired up. People are annoyed. People are saying it's corrupt. It's a weird game. I hate politics. And I'm here to tell you, I love politics. Canadian politics is fun. It's wild. It's interesting. And with this Trudeau decision, along with the polls we've been seeing that have officially come in, we're seeing the divide across the nation growing between left and right, or at least the very vocal left and the very vocal right. We're going to address all this morning. But the first thing I want to get into, I've been receiving a little too many, what do we call them, opinions on my thumbnails. People saying they don't like them. They're kind of weird, kind of corny. What I have to say to that is, I agree. They suck. I hate them. I hate YouTube. I hate thumbnail culture. It sucks. It's the worst. But guess what? You still clicked on the video, you sick freaks. So here we are. Alas, thumbnails ain't changing because you keep clicking on them. The moment you say, I'm done, I'm not clicking on this garbage anymore, I will thank you, because I literally hate YouTube thumbnail culture. It is the worst. I hate it. But you guys don't click on anything else. You guys just want to see my face go that all the freaking time. Okay? All right, let's get into some freaking news, shall we? Holy jumping. First off, we got to talk about these polls. So, we talked about the polls last week where ECOS came out, Main Street came out earlier this week, and they're just showing the Conservatives just falling like a rock and the Liberals rising to stardom. And every liberal leftist creator was taking these polls, pasting them on their TikToks, posting them on X, showing the whole world, look, the Liberals are coming back, baby. And all the comment sections are just like, yes, Poilievre will never be PM. He is the worst. Mark Carney all the way. He is an experienced banker who knows what he's doing. He is the right decision for Canada. And I'm just sitting here like, I'm just waiting for the polls that are legitimate to come out. Because if the legitimate polls come out saying Conservatives are falling like a rock, then I'll take it seriously. But right now, you have these polls that have proven to not be the most accurate in the past. So I've been waiting for the Abacuses of the world. I've been waiting for the Nanoses of the world. Even waiting for some Angus Reeds of the world. Just curious to see what the wide spectrum of results are. And baby, they came through. With the idea and the question being, if the Liberals are being led by Mark Carney, who would you vote for in the next election? And this is what we got from Abacus. Conservatives still enjoying a 43% vote share, leading a good solid 21% over the Liberals, who are the next closest party. Then you have the NDP at 19% and so on and so forth. So Conservatives still enjoying a pretty comfortable lead, at least based on Abacus. Nanos saying pretty much the same thing, a little bit less for the Conservatives, not 43, but 42%. And the Liberals at 25 and the NDP at 18. This is what Nanos and Abacus are saying right now. They have more of a history being closer to the center than pretty even in their results, knowing that this is probably pretty close to what we're seeing at the moment, which quite frankly, still semi-surprises me. Because the interesting part I really did find is that we're not really seeing the Conservatives really lose a whole lot of ground. It's the fact that the NDP are going to be losing a lot of ground if Mark Carney leads the Liberal Party. Between Freeland and Carney, it goes from 17 to 13%. Liberals gained 5. NDP decreased 4%. I thought that was intriguing. I thought we'd see more of a Liberal bump, if I'm being honest. From what I'm seeing on social media and how we're being inundated, I would think that the Conservative lead would be a lot smaller. But alas, here we are. When you see it modeled out across all polls, bringing it all together and put into seat form, we have the Conservatives at 235 seats, Liberals at 44, and the Bloc coming in third, smoking the NDP currently. And so if that's the lead, I do find it interesting. Again, think about the polls, because we pull it with the polls, 338 Canada, pulled up all the polls, how they perform compared to their other polls and other pieces of data. So we right now are select national, and we're going to go latest. So you see everyone there in the center. You have Angus Reid that's kind of off to the left. Nanos Research really close to dead center. Then you have ECOS and Main Street that are kind of off the beaten path a little bit. More so ECOS than Main Street. Everyone else is kind of in that margin of error and kind of in the same area. We're seeing the same similar types of results from the other polls. But ECOS and Main Street, just ECOS is off the map altogether. And that's why I do find it interesting when you look at how each of these polling firms and how each of their polls perform between themselves. That I thought was interesting as well. Because you have Abacus, that all kind of performs in its own cluster. and it's been consistent. Main Street has been all over the place. And again, these are all polls that have been conducted since 2021, September 2021. Nanos, a little bit spread out, but still clustered. ECOS, again, it's just totally branched out. Like, there's no consistency. So these are polling firms, what I'll tell you right now, firms you can't really take seriously. Can't fully trust them. If you see a Main Street poll, you see an ECOS poll, look into it, think about it, but don't take it too seriously. Take it with the finest grains of salt and wait for the other polls to come out and then see what the aggregate is saying. And we'll have more of an accurate prediction of what's going on. Or just go by the famous line that Mr. John Diefenbaker said is, polls are for dogs. And to a degree, I agree. Polls are fun to look at. They're cool. They're a snapshot in time. But it doesn't really quite frankly matter. You need to keep pounding the pavement, keep pushing forward as if you are going to lose the election. Because the minute you take the foot off the gas pedal is when things are taken out right from under you. But that's more so the conversation I'm having. Is the divide that we're seeing in Canada. Because what is concerning to me is seeing these high-profile leftist creators on TikTok who are taking polls like Main Street, taking polls like ECOS, and peddling them to their followers as if it's true. And then what concerns me more about this is not so much it gives hope to them. I don't really care about that. It's more if the conservatives smoke the liberals, those people are going to be absolutely shocked. And they will be the first ones to say that things like election was rigged. It was illegitimate. How do we know Poilievre didn't cheat? How do you know there was no foreign interference? These are the questions that will come out. Because these people speak in their own echo chambers and they eat up each other so much that they live in their own different reality. And I'm not saying there's pockets of the right that do this as well, but the left is notorious for it. That's the part I don't really like, is they take these polls that are very inaccurate compared to the other polling firms because it supports their narrative and they give false hope to their followers. That again, if the election doesn't go in their favor, they'll be the first ones to say it was rigged, it was illegitimate, Poilievre this, wah, which causes more of a divide in our country. And it feels like that is what Trudeau is trying to finish off his days in office with. Being someone who had an impact. Someone who left their stamp on things. And why not do that then with the Senate when people don't have to retire until they're 75? These people can be serving as senators, depending on the age, upwards of 40 years if they want to. 45 years, depending on the age that they get brought in. That should be concerning. But here we are. Trudeau to fill Senate vacancies before retiring, source says. Government preparing to fill all 10 vacant seats in coming weeks. Justin Trudeau is planning a final wave of appointments to fill the 10 vacancies in the Senate before he retires in March, Radio Canada has learned. The move would allow him to leave a mark on Parliament for years to come, as these unelected legislators will be able to sit until the age of 75. A source familiar with the matter says that the selection process for the future senators is already underway and should be completed before his departure. After proroguing Parliament earlier this month, Trudeau announced that he will leave power after the Liberal Party chooses a new leader on March 9th. In a written response, the PM's office confirmed that the Advisory Board for Senate Appointments is at work to propose candidates for all vacancies. The PMO spokesperson, Simon LaFortune, said, "The Prime Minister takes his responsibility to appoint senators seriously and will do so as long as he remains in office." The Prime Minister likes to praise the independence of the senators he has appointed since 2016, but he has nonetheless picked several high-profile Liberals to sit in the Senate in recent years. The Conservative Party of Pierre Poilievre, which is leading in national polls, has been critical of Trudeau's choices of senators. The Conservatives now fear that Trudeau-appointed senators will try to block their agenda if the party wins the next election, which is expected in the spring. There are currently 12 senators affiliated with the Conservative Party in a 105-seat chamber. For someone who advocated in an independent Senate, Trudeau have ended up filling the Senate with a large majority of Liberals who people support his policy, said Conservative Senator Claude Kerrigan. And this is very true. This is the concern that a lot of people are having. Only 105 spots in the Senate. And I did a whole video on this, I think over a month ago, and I'll link it right here. But this is of concern, only because if the Conservatives are able to keep their swell of support, get a super majority, there essentially won't be a very strong opposition in the House. And the way that Trudeau set up the Senate since he's been in office leaves an opportunity for the Senate to operate as a de facto opposition, because any bills that start in the House of Commons have to go through the Senate and vice versa. There's an exception of some categories, but for the most part, that applies to all bills. So it is very possible that things get very politicized in the Senate, and no matter anything that Poilievre puts forward, they vote down on. All bills just get voted down on. and things grind to a halt to a degree, and Poilievre can't complete the things that he wants to complete. And that's why people are concerned about the stacking of the Senate. And to give you and paint a bit of a picture for you, as we said, there's 105 seats and 10 positions left to fill. Since Trudeau has been in office, he's appointed 90 senators. I repeat, 90 senators. If he goes on to fill these remaining 10 seats, he will have appointed 100 of the 105 senators. He will be on the all-time list of the amount of senators appointed during their tenure. The only person he'd be second to is Mackenzie King, who served in office for 22 years. How many years did Trudeau serve for? A little over 9. So for less than half the time that Mackenzie was in power, Trudeau almost matches Mackenzie. Mackenzie appointed 103 senators. And because this current Liberal Party has been so partisan, has been so divisive, and has completely taken that party in a totally different direction that no one has ever seen before, a lot of these appointments aren't necessarily people that have been involved in the Liberal Party, but they're people that have maybe donated to the party, have been a 1 or 2 degree separation from the party. Not very many of his appointments have gone the opposite way, where there's 1 or 2 degree separation from the Conservative Party. A lot of it tends to revolve around this Liberal Party, which begs the question, what is going to happen? A lot of people are saying, this is not fair. What's going on? Because that is a method that Trudeau has deployed since he got into office. Before Trudeau got in, PM could really appoint anybody, and there was no real process. Trudeau instituted a layer which gave a veneer of transparency. He started an advisory board. And so what these people do is they go do the research and they come back with potential candidates that Trudeau could potentially sign off on. And you can say whatever the motives were for appointing that board. Could it be that he was lazy and didn't want to do the work? Could he just want to institute another bit of bureaucracy to give people jobs? Did he really truly believe this is the best way for transparency? Who knows? We don't know. We're not inside of his brain. But that is where things lie. Before he leaves office, before March 9th, he will have appointed 100 senators in his 9 years, which will leave a legacy. It will make the business of Parliament very interesting if we see a Conservative supermajority. Will the Senate get political, or will they do their jobs? We'll see. But alas, today's Tuesday. We will be getting that report probably here in the next couple hours. So we'll be standing by, watching for the release of this report oh so very closely so we can report it right here to you. Have yourselves a good one. I'm out.